On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we answer some of your OU football questions, including OU recruiting and the hype around John Mateer. Then we discuss the biggest story in college football right now, Felix Ojo committing to Texas Tech. And of course, we give you our winners and losers of the weekend. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Make sure you visit our website, okbreakdown.com, and follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. All right, our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Sunday, July 6th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. Some good times for the 4th of July, Ted. How we feeling?
Fantastic weekend. Fantastic weekend. We had a little bit of rain, but every day sun ended up coming out. We got fireworks in. I threw enough cornhole games to last me an entire year. It was good around here. How about you guys?
How was the cornhole? How was it flying?
Good.
How was it sliding?
Good. I'd say strong to quite strong. I had some ups and downs. The crazy thing is when you throw cornhole for like 12 hours straight, your like first 3 games are your best, and then it just slowly, it's like golf. My first round of the year in golf is typically my best, and then the more I play, I get worse and worse.
I'm sure it had nothing to do with the beverages you were consuming as you kept playing the cornhole all day. I'm sure that didn't affect your abilities at all.
Listen, there's plenty of blame to go around. Blame my partner, blame the boards, blame the wind. Never do I blame the beverages.
That's awesome. As it's a great mentality to have. The wind is definitely the biggest factor in cornhole for me, where you're like, wait a second, what type of trajectory do I need on this bag?
There's a lot of great things about cornhole bags, but aerodynamics are not one of them. Wind is a factor.
No doubt about it. But yeah, I hope everyone out there had a fantastic 4th of July weekend. One of the best weekends of the year. Hopefully everyone had a very safe and fun 4th of July. I do want to say the stuff in Central Texas, man, is awful.
It's crazy.
I mean, every parent's worst nightmare. And I know we have a lot of people in the state of Texas that listen, and anyone being affected by that, we're praying for you. We're thinking of you. I can't even imagine, man. Just brutal, a brutal situation going on there with all the flooding.
Hate it. It's so bad. That storm just camped out, and that was wild. Yeah, I can't imagine. Brutal.
Not an easy transition, but
no, it's not.
Let's talk about OU football. And we asked you guys, hey, what questions do you have right now about OU football? And this first question comes from @Sooner_born7. He asks, is the Nagy recruiting method that's scaring the fan base just a sign of uncertain times in a changing game, or is there some room for worry? Ted, I believe this is in reference to something Jim Nagy said on the Triple Option podcast. I saw this clip going around. He basically said, hey, if we have the same grade on a guy that's a 5-star that's taking official visits to like all the big schools, if we have the same grade on that guy as we do on a guy that's a 3-star that's taking official visits to like group of 5 schools, then sometimes they're probably going to target that guy because recruiting's about value. And if you have the same grade on 2 guys and you can get one guy, let's just be real, at a cheaper price, then that creates value for you. And he also mentioned that the NFL is littered with 2- and 3-star players and that you have to trust your evaluation. I don't know what Jim said there that anyone would really disagree with. Help me understand, man.
It is it's a it's an interesting thing in college football because just what the environment has always been like. People, and it's not, I don't think it's necessarily fans' fault, but there's a blind allegiance to recruiting rankings, right? We take it as gospel that if a guy's a 5-star, he's a 5-star, and if he's a 4-star, he's a 4-star, and so on. And that's not the world we're living in anymore. And it really wasn't before, but with the scouting department, you trust your scouting department. You don't trust a a third party outside for profit public evaluation group. You know, you trust the guys that you hired, that you brought in. You build a rating on a guy, and yeah, if you have two guys that you have evaluated as equal talents and one costs way more than the other, it you have a finite amount of money to work with. Like, you have to manage. Everyone in the NFL would love to just have all pros at every position, but you can't do that. You got a limited amount of money that you can spend, and you've got to find the talent below that's going to turn into great players. And I think it's just the evaluation process. And I think that there's going to be a bit of a learning curve for the fan base to kind of trust that. We've talked about it. Our recruiting class right now has a bunch of guys that are labeled as 3-star players that are, I do not believe are 3-star players. And I don't think the scouting department thinks they're 3-star players. And that's who they're going after. Now, I can understand the uncertainty because we haven't seen it play out. The only way that the fan base is going to trust that is if some of those players that the recruiting services didn't have labeled as 4 or 5-star guys turn into multi-year starters, big difference makers. But I his explanation makes 100% sense to me, and I'd say, yeah, let's do that.
And one of the interesting things is at no point did Jim Nagy go, hey, we're not going after 5-star players. It's all about their evaluation, their grade, and going after the right ones. I mean, if they think a 5-star player is going to be a big time difference maker for Oklahoma football, of course they're going to go after that player. And they know that there will be a big price tag that comes with that. I know it wasn't necessarily a Nagy decision, but that's exactly what they did with Michael Fasusi just one recruiting class ago.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of the same people that are helping make decisions about recruits that made the Fasusi decision that came with a very big price tag. So it's not like that they're going to never go after a 5-star player. It's just about being smart with your resources. And you're seeing every school out there, whether it's Texas, Ohio State, whoever, a bunch of these schools are missing out on 5-stars. It does feel like they're getting spread across. Remember when Bama and Georgia used to have like 5 or 6 5-stars in a class, and you would just be like, that's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. It feels like that's not happening anymore.
Way more difficult, no doubt.
So when I saw that clip of Nagy talking about go around, it almost just, I don't think that strategy's flawed at all. It feels like a sustainable strategy that they have implemented. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's,
yeah. What we're
are
talking
people
about.
mad that he wants to operate in an intelligent way? Like, help me understand the big.
Well, I think it's just I think it's just what we've always had in recruiting is we've always had these recruiting services that label players, and that's what we've gone off of. We don't have anything else to really gauge it. But what you're doing, it's an auction. Okay. When the Shelby Cobra comes across and you've said, I can spend X amount of money on this car. You bid. If you can get it under that price, awesome. But once it goes above what you can spend, the value isn't there anymore. Right? So it's just a different world to where I'm sure every school would love to just throw endless money at every recruit that they think are going to be a difference maker. But again, you've got a finite amount of resources to deal with. So, there's going to be some guys that you really want. My gosh, we've got to have this guy. You can't get emotional and go spend more money than you believe the player is worth just because you got to have it. It's the same thing. You've got to be responsible. You got to understand, here's the value. Here's what we can pay according to our salary cap and where we have our money allocated. And if you've got room and it's there and it works, you do it. If you don't have room, it doesn't make sense, you got to let it go. And I mean, that's how it's going to be. And that's what I believe the real next frontier in college football is. Can these scouting departments out scout the recruiting service sites? If you can and turn those guys into players, that's where you're going to be able to really make a run at a championship. If you just throw endless amount of money at the top rated guys, you have to feel like at some point that's not going to work out very well, but we'll see.
It's also interesting because you look at individual guys, they've all got different rankings on all the different recruiting sites.
Absolutely.
So it's
a wide range of
now most of the 5-star guys are very highly rated on all of them.
And usually rightfully so.
Yeah. They're usually physical outliers.
There's guys that come around every year that everyone in the country says that's a 5-star player. He's going to be great. Now, it doesn't always happen that way, but absolutely.
So I know this has become a big talking point with the fan base now, and maybe it's just some OU fans want us to be able to buy every single player that we want. That's really not the system, or it's not how the system is supposed to work anymore. We'll see.
Even if it did, you don't want to get into a money contest with some of these other schools. Some schools just have access to way more money than other schools do. Just how it is.
Yeah, it's just kind of just life.
It's life.
But I do think that you have to give Jim Nagy and his staff some time. I know that we all understand how important this season is for Oklahoma football and for the coaching staff. We all get that, but Nagy and his staff are brand new, and you have to give them some time to prove that they can evaluate at the highest level. So we'll see, but it's going to be a couple years before you know whether or not they're kind of crushing it. You know what I mean?
But that's exactly why they are there. Because you can either take an endless amount of cash and go buy everyone, or if you don't have an endless amount of cash, we have to develop a process in which we can find the best talent for the best value. And that's what Oklahoma has done, frankly, in maybe a more aggressive way than anyone else in college football, the way that they've built that scouting department and, the front office, so to speak, of the football team, football program. So that's literally this. He is describing literally what they're there to do. There's no point in having a scouting department if you just go throw the most money you can at all of the can't miss 5-star guys.
That's not finding value.
Correct.
That's just outspending. But I think we just need games to get played. Like
Yeah.
we've reached the point of the calendar where everyone's just you got to find something to talk about, and this is kind of the latest thing. Like, wait, we're not going after 5 stars anymore. That's not what he said.
No. I'm sure they have, I'm sure their war room and their evaluations at all the different positions, some of them look the same as your typical recruiting sites. Some of them look vastly different, but they have 5-star guys and they're going after those 5-star guys that they've evaluated, right? I mean, that's how it is.
That is how I understand it. And that is what they're here to do. That's what Jim Nagy and his staff are here to do.
If you can find a 5-star that everyone else has labeled as a 3-star, that's a grand slam. That's what you want.
Let's go to our next question. Comes from at J Thomas 0007. Why is there so much hype around John Mateer? I watched his games against the better teams, and his numbers/performance was nowhere near the level to get this much hype. Is it the Oklahoma machine pushing this, or the desperation of the college football world to bring OU back to relevance? Is this person an OU fan?
Well,
Doesn't sound like it.
hey, I understand. Like our fan base is on the wide spectrum of where you can be as a fan. I would say that the majority of our fan base has moved to the skeptical side of things, right? And I get it because of some of the recent results. I like Mateer from what I've seen him practicing. Watching the film from last year, you don't always get the same players you had last year, right? Guys improve, and I think what we're seeing right now is a more experienced, more developed, more mature John Mateer than what you saw last year. And if you just go watch last year's film, the quarterback you had at the end of the year was a better version of what Mateer was at the beginning of the year because it was his first year starting. He got better as he went. I mean, he checks a lot of boxes for me. Is it all guaranteed? No, but I don't think anyone out there necessarily has any interest in OU getting a ton of hype. I mean, I don't feel like there's I guess I could be wrong, but I don't feel like there's been a meeting out there and everyone said, "Hey, let's pump OU." I don't think that's taken place.
I don't either. Now, OU fans do consume content about their team probably at a higher rate than others. And I think there's people out there that have discovered that and have leaned into that, which, hey, we do an entire show about OU football. Totally get it, guys. Do you?
It's usually the opposite though, right? If you want to get the OU engagement, you have to say something. Well, you don't have to, but typically something negative does way better than something positive.
No doubt. But and this may sound silly, I think the hype is building for John Mateer because people are finally watching what he did last season. I don't think many people watched John Mateer last year.
He was an unknown. I think people heard, hey, this kid out Washington State's having a good year out there somewhere. It's happening. But I think you're right for the most part. I don't think a lot of people before he got to OU, and let's be honest, OU has a much bigger audience and gathers a lot more attention than you do out in Pullman, Washington. So I think you're right. It's people have noticed. And there is some we talked about Cole Kublik rating OU's defensive line the best in the SEC. Well, as soon as he said that, the dominoes fell, and it's like everyone in college football that covers the sport started saying the same thing. So there is some of that. There's comfort in kind of towing the same line as other people in their evaluations. But there's a point that there's people out there that really dig in, and you have to trust what they say to at least some degree.
Remember, Joe Klatt had Mateer as the third best quarterback. Heading into this college football season, I saw Greg McElroy was on your station with Dari Noka and said he has Mateer as the number 2 quarterback in the country behind Cade Klubnik entering the season. Those are guys that watch a lot of quarterback play, call a lot of games, know what they're looking at. And I think the Mateer hype has a lot to do with people finally watching him, but he also has the physical makeup of a quarterback that we have seen have success, a lot of success in college football over the last 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's extremely mobile. He can create something out of nothing with that mobility. He can make every throw. He's got all the weird arm angles. Like, he's got the mentality, the attitude you're looking for. Like, he has a lot of the characteristics we've seen very successful college football quarterbacks have over the last several years. So I think it's pretty obvious why the hype has built to where it's built. But yeah, there's no doubt. There's no denying. The hype is very real around John Mateer heading into the season. Very real.
And there's no guarantee that everything works out as some people think it will or should. An offense is a complicated machine. You got to be able to block. You got to be able to get open. You got to be able to stay healthy. You got to be able to execute in, pivotal moments, different situational awareness down in like, you've got to be able to function at a high level. It's not all just, what type of ability do you have? And that's yet to be seen. But if the physical abilities match up with a competent game plan, and we've got an offensive line that can protect and block and move people in the run game, if the offensive system works well and you don't have glaring holes in any pieces there, Mateer should have a very strong year.
No doubt. But the other guys around him have to play well.
That's it. Yeah.
Just like any other quarterback around the country. But I think the hype is what it is because people have finally watched what he did at Washington State last year. And the guy just has a skill set that successful quarterbacks at this level have. I think the mobility piece especially is really important. So
yeah. And if you want comfort, just remember that a bunch of people wanted him and they were throwing a lot of money that way.
Yes.
So, a lot of money. So it's not just OU evaluators. It's not just Joel Klatt and Greg McElroy or whoever out there is picking Mateer high. There were a lot of teams willing to spend massive amounts of money to bring him in.
He's done all the right things since he's gotten to OU. And I think that has just made people feel even better about what he's going to be here. Remember, with a quarterback, and it's with all players, but we all know quarterback's different. Everything is taken into account when it comes to your evaluation at that position. And he's got the physical skill set. A lot of people talk about, like Todd McShay talking about his competitiveness when he did his breakdown of Mateer. And then I always kind of just put this category over to the side of kind of he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
John Mateer absolutely gets it when it comes to what it means to be the quarterback at Oklahoma. Or just being a quarterback in general.
Yep. I agree.
He understands what comes with that position and has done all of the right things since he's been in Norman. And that matters. And I think that matters to a lot of people, not just me.
Well, whenever you go to practice or you see scrimmages or in a football game, you kind of get the feeling of whose offense is this. And a lot of times you say it's the offensive coordinators, right? You go out to practice, the offensive coordinator is running everything. It's John Mateer's offense. when you're out there, he runs everything. He's demanding of his guys. He's loud. He communicates. Um, I I've been pleasantly surprised with what I've seen from him. But then again, there are no guarantees here.
Maybe the biggest factor is he's not learning a new offense. It's the rare this guy is transferring and staying in the same offense.
Uh,
That's a big piece of it as well as
plus.
the Ben Arbuckle piece.
Huge plus. Total comfort there. And, we talked about this back during the spring. To be able to have a quarterback, a new quarterback that can step in and there is no learning curve, like he's teaching the offense to everyone, he knows it. It puts you so far ahead of everyone on the team trying to learn it at the same time. And you spend half or more of your spring just trying to get a feel and a comfort level. When your quarterback knows it, you're not always just good, but like it helps everyone else learn. He can go out and throw with the guys. He can run different like small practices and throwing sessions where they're not just out there throwing. He can implement the offense into those individual practices himself. So that's a huge advantage. But you could probably just go back to what you said in question one. We just need to play games.
Games need to be played. But hey, it's fun to answer the questions.
It
It's fun
is.
to talk about. I mean, it's
And
it's
I
what we're here to
understand the
do.
concern. I do. I do understand the concern because there was a lot of hype around Jackson Arnold. All right.
Correct.
There was a lot of hype around Jackson Arnold, but situation that Mateer is in compared to the situation Jackson Arnold was in last year is literally better in every single aspect, in my opinion,
I completely agree with that.
top to bottom.
Let's answer one more. This one comes from Christopher Hubbard. He asks if you had to take Burks or the field to lead the team in yards, who would you take? I'm assuming this excludes John Mateer from the situation because obviously you're taking Mateer to lead the team that passing yards. But I assume he means skill guys. So Ted, Burks or the field for OU to lead the team in yards?
That's a tough one, man.
Deion Burks last year had 277 yards from scrimmage and 3 touchdowns. And really, when you look at it, his best season at Purdue, he had 641 yards from scrimmage and 7 touchdowns. So it's, even though there's no doubt he has 1,000-yard ability, it's not something he's done.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
It's interesting. I was on the radio show the other day. We were kind of going back and looking at a similar discussion. And do you know we had 8 different leading receivers in games last year? And I think we only had one guy catch over 100 yards passing, and that was Hester in the main game when he caught that long
The 60-yarder.
That was the majority of it. No, he had the longest catch.
Oh, yeah, the like 90-yarder.
Yeah. Majority of it came on that play. So, I mean,
The main game. Oh my gosh, the start of that game.
um,
I
see,
feel you're taking too long. It feels like
know.
you're not taking Burks, and I'm not taking him either.
I want to say Giovanni Gibson, but he's entering injured, and I expect it to be good. They continue to say good things. Um, I've heard one of the guys I've heard probably the most good stuff about so far this off season is Satania. And we talked about him. We really liked him in the spring.
The king of the over route.
Yeah.
Every time I was out of practice during the spring, he was catching a deep over route for a huge chunk from Mateer. He's got speed, man, and he's got speed, and he's played in the SEC. So He's got good feel for operating in the middle of the field.
Good
But
after the catch.
Burks is, if you go out and you just look at the guys run routes and how they move, you go, yeah, Burks is, that's the guy you're picking to be the leading receiver. Giovanni Gibson may have been the guy for me if he wouldn't have had the leg injury late in spring.
Mm-hmm.
He was just so impressive every time I went out there. But I think if I had to pick a skill guy to lead in yards from scrimmage, I think I'm taking Jay Knott.
Yeah, I may be right.
Because and he didn't have, by all indications, he had a disappointing season for him last year.
Right.
Injury issues. He had 607 yards from scrimmage and 5 touchdowns. And you go back to 2023, he had nearly 1,500 yards from scrimmage and 14 touchdowns. So maybe I'll just take that guy, you know?
Yeah, it was lead in yards, not receiving, right? So
yards.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to take the field, and I'll also say this about Burks. At his best, I don't think there's any deny, like as explosive as he is, quick, fast. He's just physically, he is a really well put together player, but he's a Ferrari, and it's a long season. And I do have lingering questions as to whether he can put together, 10, 11, 12 games and not miss significant time. It's been a real struggle for him. So I think I'd take the field.
Can I give you my dark horse?
Yeah, please.
Javonte Barnes. We know the staff likes him.
Yeah.
He was their lead back a year ago. If DeMarco Murray, and I know DeMarco Murray trusts him, and that goes a long way with coaches. If they can trust you to go out there and do the right thing, you never know what happens in front of him at the running back position. Like if Ott gets banged up and all of a sudden you're looking at it and Javonte Barnes is the starting running back again. He had 700 yards from scrimmage last year, 6 touchdowns last year. I don't know. Maybe that's the answer. I don't. That's the dark horse for me. Is hey, maybe it's just Javonte Barnes. He gets a little better for his senior year, and he goes out there and he's very productive.
Yeah, and we don't know, and I don't even think the coaches know, like what exactly the style of this offense is going to be. I think they have an idea of what direction they'd like to go. But if all of a sudden you find some things in the running game is just incredibly deadly, then you may be a run heavy team and you have a bunch of backs that stack up good yardage and obviously catching balls out of the backfield. So yeah, I don't think that's a bad guess at all.
We may have to revisit this conversation when we do our remember how we do like our bold predictions right before the season starts?
Yeah.
We may need to circle back to this one.
I like that. Yep.
All right, let's talk about kind of the story that is dominating college football right now. But first, taking a road trip this summer? Remember to stop at Love's Travel Stops. You can't miss the heart of the highway, and with the Love's app, you can save big all summer long. You can save 10 cents per gallon on gas and up to 25 cents per gallon on auto diesel. Save with the Love's app this summer and be welcomed by clean places and friendly faces. Certain conditions may apply. See loves.com for details.
Summer is here, and there's no better way to fire up your cookouts than with Didier Ranch's steak burgers made from 100% premium cuts of steak. These burgers are the real deal. Juicy, flavorful, and packed with that rich, beefy taste that you love. Plus, they're shipped right to your door, so you can spend more time doing what you love and less time shopping. Head over to DidierRanch.com now and use code SOONER for a special discount on your first order. Get ready to taste the best burgers you've ever had. Proudly raised 100% in Oklahoma. Didier Ranch, Steak in every bite.
And we are brought to you by Simple Modern, the Oklahoma-owned company and official drinkware partner of the OU Sooners. Summer is flying by, but Simple Modern is here to make back-to-school shopping easy. From backpacks and lunchboxes to water bottles, Simple Modern offers durable, stylish gear kids love, all at parent-approved prices. And Oklahoma teachers, listen up. Starting July 14th, nominate yourself for Simple Modern Stock Your School to win water bottles for your classroom, have your entire classroom wish list fulfilled, and receive $1,000 for anything your school needs. Voting opens July 21st, and the top 10 teachers with the most votes win. And with 10% of all Simple Modern profits going to charity, many right here in Oklahoma, you're helping Oklahomans everywhere. Simple Modern, it's good everywhere. A lot of people will be very happy that the college football roundup is back, Ted.
Yes.
For all you, will you please stop talking so much about the Thunder, people? We're college football roundup is back. Now, there is this is the story that's dominating college football, and there's so many different things to talk about with it, but five-star offensive tackle Felix Ojo has committed to Texas Tech over essentially everywhere else, including Texas. And typically people do not commit to Texas Tech over Texas. No. That's not typically how it works. But Ojo's agent, Derek Shelby, told ESPN that he signed a fully guaranteed 3-year, $5.1 million revenue share contract with the Red Raiders. However, The Athletic reported that multiple tech sources said that Ojo actually signed a 3-year, $2.3 million revenue share deal. So that's $775,000 per year. But I guess the contract does say it can jump into that $5 million range if the revenue share cap increases significantly over the next couple of years. So I don't know, that some type of sliding scale contract. I don't know, like 5% of the cap, maybe, because when you look at it, $775,000 is roughly 5% of 16 million, which that's around that projected 80% to football number that a lot of people have put out there for schools. But Ted, this is the talk of college football, man. Like, what do you think? What was your reaction?
Get used to it. Get used to it. This is where we're going. I mean, it's just the inevitable conclusion to the way that things have progressed over the last couple of years. And there's going to be spots on a football team where you're going to be willing to pay a lot of money. Obviously, you're going to mirror the NFL to a large degree for your big money positions. You know, you look at a NFL, a typical roster, you're going to have a huge chunk of the salary cap committed to quarterback, some upwards of 25%, and then left tackle, wide receiver, corner, edge. There's going to be some spots that almost every team has their biggest amount of money allocated to. And, I think college football is going to end up mirroring that. My question is, though, like, he's committed. Actual signing day is not till December. He's signed the contract. It's going to be interesting to see, like, how binding these contracts are, because there's been some situations that have happened over the last couple of years. And I mean, have we essentially just moved signing day to whenever the player decides to sign his revenue contract?
Yes. That's how it feels.
Yeah,
especially if these agents are going to keep coming out and giving the details of the contracts.
Right. Yeah.
There's so many things to talk about with this. First and foremost, I think there's a lot of people going, hey, is this bad for college football? Is it good for college football? A guy that hasn't even played his senior year of high school getting a guaranteed contract. Now, I would love to know what the language in the contract says, but Texas Tech doesn't typically get 5-star recruits.
Right.
And one of the discussions when NIL and now revenue sharing came into play is, hey, will this spread some talent around the country? Because these schools, I mean, you can only pay so many five-star kids, right? It's like what we talked about earlier. And it kind of feels like it's a good thing for college football in a weird way. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way. I doubt I am, but the players are getting paid now. If Texas Tech can commit more of their revenue share distribution to a guy than another school can, then that's their choice. That is what they're putting. That's what they believe that player is worth. And you kind of have to put this roster puzzle together.
Yeah.
And I was looking at some of the numbers, Ted, because there was a big discussion about what percentage of the 20.5 million revenue share schools would use for football. And a lot of people, it was like 75 to 80% was going to be used for football.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things is, and you don't really hear it discussed, is, okay, of that 80%, like, what are the differences going to look like school to school when it comes to how they distribute that money to their roster? Like, what do certain schools value differently than other schools? And that'll involve front offices and the coaching staffs. And it's just because you look at Ojo's contract, if Tech is doing 80% of the 20.5 million, that's 16.4 million. 750 grand per year is 4.5% of your cap.
Mm-hmm.
That's not very much money if you think he's going to be a star left tackle for you.
Yeah.
Like, I went and looked it up. Lane Johnson, and this is all Spotrac has that. And is that how you say that word? I've always said Spotrac.
I think so.
Spotrac.com.
I think I naturally throw the R in there, even though it's not it's not in there.
But they have a thing where if you Google like Chiefs cap table or Eagles cap table, it will tell you the percentage for the league cap that each player on the roster is making. And like Lane is making 6.6% of the Eagles cap. Trent Williams is making 7.75 or 7.57% of the 49ers cap. Mahomes is making 10% of the Chiefs cap.
Mm-hmm.
Baker's 8.55% of the Bucks cap. So if it's 750 a year, and I know they said it can escalate depending on how the cap grows, but if a guy that you think is going to be a star tackle is only making 4.5% of your cap, if you compare it to what it looks like for some of these top offensive linemen in the NFL, feels like a really good deal for Texas Tech.
Yeah. And, you have to say, like, that's where the unknown comes in, right? Those guys make, like, Lane Johnson makes what he makes and Trent Williams makes what, because they've got like a long history of doing it. You know what you're going to get. So you can't come in and say, well, Trent Williams makes 7.5% of his team's cap. It's like, well, yeah, he's also been an all-pro for however many years. You haven't played a snap of college football, so
he's also 37 and you're 17.
Right. Yeah. So it's I mean, I think it's a palatable deal for all parties based on the information that you have. 2 years from now, you may say that was the dumbest contract we ever signed. Or you may say 2 years from now, that's the best contract we ever signed. We got one of the best tackles in college football at, whatever cap percentage. So it's going to be fun to see how these things play out. And again, this goes back to the Nagy question we talked about in the first segment. This is where you have to try and win and create value, is what guys you evaluate and what money you allocate to their contracts.
And remember, Ojo was supposed to take an official to OU.
Mm-hmm.
But OU staff had Deacon Schmidt graded higher than Ojo. And once they got that Schmidt commitment, I think The best way to put it is they kind of backed off from the Ojo situation because they knew there was going to be a big price tag with that, and they got their guy that they thought is a better player for a better value.
I don't know what Deacon Schmidt signed for, but let's say he signed for 2% of the cap. Well, if the things play out and you have a similar player in Ojo and Deacon Schmidt, and they're paying 4.5% of their cap and you're paying 2% of your cap, well, guess who won that round, right? You hope that's where you win in recruiting.
I do wonder if you're Felix Ojo, and I hate what I'm about to bring up. Absolutely hate it. I just want to make that clear. But if you do have the ability, if this contract does have the ability to be a $5 million deal, you have to have a serious conversation about what you're going to do for your senior year of football. That's life altering money, man.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's, since you've signed a multi-million-dollar contract, like what type of insurance these guys are putting in place,
what type of injury protections are in this thing?
Yeah.
I you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate to say it, but if you're Felix Ojo and his parents and you got $5 million on the line, hey, maybe you just train for your senior year. You get bigger, stronger, you get in really good shape, you work on your technique, and you don't go play games. I don't know. It's not what I would have done, but I could totally understand if a kid's got $5 million on the line being like, you know what? I need to get there healthy.
And here's the thing, because the first thing you think of is, do you want to spend that much time away from football? And, are you going to lose ground? You're only going to be missing 3 months. Because remember, these guys can come and practice with you for bowl practice. And if you're inked and signed and it's a guaranteed deal, you can be practicing with them in December. So you're really only missing what, 4 months?
It's got to be a conversation, right?
It may not even be a conversation. It may just be like, sit your butt down and go in the weight room.
And I know nothing about Felix Ojo's family, nothing about, their financial situation. I know nothing about that. But the chance to, depending on what the language in the contract is and how you're protected, the chance to make $750,000 as an 18-year-old, you may not want to put that at risk. And I hate saying it, but dude, that is a lot of money. That's more money than I ever made in a season in the NFL.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where you look at it going, what would be more beneficial for his development? Would it be going out and playing games against a lot of the times guys he's just bigger and stronger than, or would it be better to just get in the weight room and get bigger and stronger and work on his flexibility and work on his technique and talk to the Tech's coaching staff about what he should be working on and the strength and conditioning staff sending him workouts, like all that type of stuff. I don't know, but it was just something I thought about when I saw that number, the initial number that was reported. I went, hold on, if there's $5 million on the line, maybe a weight room season if I'm Ojo.
No doubt. It reminds me of, what is it, Lawrence Taylor in Any Given Sunday? Don't drop me. I'm worth $1 million. Yeah, and I think it the best decision can vary widely. For a tackle that's playing, and I don't even know what high school he plays at, but if you're playing at a place where maybe you don't get what you guys do offensively, doesn't really translate, the competition The coaching that you're getting, it's not advancing you really anywhere. Maybe different than a quarterback, right? That's running a similar system in high school that you're going to run in college, and quarterbacks need seat time, or you can kind of take that to different positions. And does what you're doing help advance where you are now, or does it just put you at unnecessary risk? And I think it's going to be different for every player at every position in different situations where they play.
If you're Tech, do you go, hey man, go work with an offensive line trainer and like do that during the season instead of going and playing? I maybe and Joey McGuire there is not a more, you know, entrenched guy in Texas high school football than Joey McGuire.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe he's like, no, go play with your boys. Like Joey McGuire's a really cool guy.
I mean, that does, that's a good point. It introduces something different. Like, I don't think as a college pro, you don't want to get in the habit of taking high school teams' best players and they're no longer playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still want to keep that relationship with those high school coaches that are really influential on some of these players. So I don't know. That's a that's that will be very interesting to see how people navigate that.
I I'm just thinking now I'm just coming up with ideas for Felix Ocho. Like he's from Mansfield. Duke Manyweather and that offensive line training facilities, I think in Frisco. Like, hey, maybe you go do that 3 days a week instead of going to practice. I $5 million on the line, dude.
Someone's probably going to start a transitional academy for
Should it
guys
be
that have,
us?
yeah, for guys that have signed big money deals, not going to play that final season of high school football.
Just like a football training factory,
Train
position drills, top of the line strength and conditioning,
it,
nutrition.
it's like a or it's like college football orientation. Learn the verbiage, learn the protections, learn coverages, like get acclimated to what the environment you're going to be playing in.
I Did you just stumble upon an awesome idea?
What
It would take way too
perhaps
much work. We're not going to do it, but it's a great idea.
it would be great for every college to set one up for those type of guys
I
that you have coming in, not just generally tailor fit for your program.
Yeah. I Oh, you should do
If
it.
if that becomes a thing where guys start signing in the summer, big money deals, and you're going to have 5, 6, 8 guys that are signed and aren't going to be playing that final year of high school ball, which is sad to think about.
Horribly
Best,
sad.
one of the best years of my life.
No doubt. Completely agree. Lost in the state championship game. I still don't understand how we got there. We weren't that good. It was awesome though. It was quite the journey. But
Uh,
I didn't have $5 million on the line.
True.
So I mean, it's hard to put ourselves in these kids' shoes, man. Like this
Got to grow
is
up quick, man. Got to grow up. It's like you're going from high school to professional sports like that. And you got to conduct yourself as a professional, and different world out there, man.
Texas Tech's having a moment.
They are.
What spent like reportedly like 10 million on transfers in the winter window.
Well, yeah, they had one of the worst defenses in all of college football last year. Like, literally, they were like 120th out of 130. And like for the college football video game, has them like as a top 10 defense.
Cody Campbell says, I want a good defense. So he goes out and buys good
So
defense.
they must have spent some money on some defensive players in the portal.
He Cody Campbell has quickly become one of the most influential people in college sports. I, that Matador Club, and it is merged. Matador Club, kind of the NIL thing they had going on, has now merged with Texas Tech's fundraising arm, which I believe is called like the Red Raider Club. So you've got this NIL and donor arm merged together, now working together. And I think a lot of schools are going to do that. I would expect something very similar from OU.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but Texas Tech feels like one of these schools that absolutely has benefited from the new system. Now we'll see when these NIL deals have to get cleared through this clearinghouse and all this stuff, like how that works.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how that's going to go for anyone, but it does feel like some schools, there's been several schools that have really benefited from the new system, and Texas Tech maybe at the top of the list with how they're operating currently.
And I understand it worked for them in softball. I mean, you go from a program that's really never accomplished anything at all right to the Women's College World Series finals. And when that happens, I imagine there's like, let's go all in across the board, and we'll see if it translates to the field.
Okay, we do need to hit one last thing. The Ojo news led to some more reporting that Texas Tech is in a great position to land 5-star 2027 offensive tackle Cooper Hackett, who is from Fort Gibson, Oklahoma.
Yeah. We got time. There's plenty of time out there, and I think Oklahoma, I don't know, but I would think that Oklahoma's still in a pretty good position. And if they go out and have a really good year, and I mean, as long as Cooper Hackett is still taking visits places, he can come to Oklahoma and watch Oklahoma play Michigan, and watch Oklahoma play Auburn, and watch Oklahoma play LSU, or he can go to Tech and watch Tech play Kansas and watch Tech play Baylor. I think Oklahoma's still going to be in a good position. We got time.
I like that. I like that answer.
Yeah.
There could be like 5 million reasons, though, that he seriously considers Texas Tech.
Well, here's where it's going to end up going. Same deal with the Deacon Schmidt and Felix Ojo deal. Does the evaluation warrant the price tag? And if it gets to a place where the talent doesn't match up with the asking price, well, then Oklahoma you have to say we're out. I mean, that's the nature of it, right? So we'll see.
All right. We'll see. Long time between now and then. But I know some OU fans were not pleased with that reporting.
Yep. And he's a good young talent, man. And he's still really raw, but he's got a really good set of skills for a big tackle. We'll see where it goes.
All right, let's finish up with our winners and losers of the weekend. But first,
Schwab Meat has been smoking the highest quality meats, hot dogs, and sausages in OKC since 1912. Go to schwabmeat.com to order any of Schwab's outstanding products and use promo code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab dogs are iconic. I like to keep it simple. Just a bun, dog, mustard, ketchup. Also, the jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage is ridiculous. schwabmeat.com, code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab Meat, the official hot dog of game days.
all summer long, the Garage is offering their triple threat combo for $8.88. That's a burger, fries, and fountain drink for just $8.88. The triple threat is available all day, every day in store at all of their locations. You can also enjoy Rad Hour at the Garage with discounted domestic beers, house wines, draft cocktails, and frozen cocktails every day from 11 a.m. till 6 p.m. Visit eatatthegarage.com to find a location near you and order online from the Garage in your neighborhood.
Insurica's launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
As always, Ted kicks off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
I had to go with Alvin Kamara, who threw the first pitch out at Wrigley Field, Cubs Cardinals game. And, it's always amazing to see the highest caliber of athletes in the world step out there on the mound and spike one directly into the ground like a 6-year-old learning to throw a baseball. So you would think I'd have him in the loser category, but I loved what he did. He said, hell no, I'm standing here until you give me the ball back and I throw another one. And he got one across. Well, he got one to a glove down there. It wasn't I wouldn't say it was a strike or anything, but he redeemed himself. He won't have the lasting image of the horrible thrown baseball that lives out there forever. I guess people could clip it and show it, but I thought that was good for him. Stay out there, get the crowd behind you, have a little bit of success.
Former teammate, Alvin Kamara, fantastic teammate, very chill guy, was very kind to me in my short stint in New Orleans. Just an unbelievable football player. Unbelievable balance. But have you ever seen someone do that? Be like, no, let me try again.
I don't think so. That's why I put it on there. I love it.
I respect it so much. Like, no. I can do better. Give me the ball back. I'm not leaving this mound. Let me do it again.
You want to start the game or not? Because I'm not leaving the mound until I get that baseball back. Nicely done. That's it. I mean, you could probably stand over there, in foul territory before you walk out there and throw 50 baseballs in a decent manner. But you step out there and all of a sudden everyone's staring at you. It's like hitting that, that 5 or 6 foot putt with everyone watching, or a free throw in a 20,000 seat arena and it's dead quiet and you got to hit it at the end of the game. It's like you can see the effects that pressure has on performance very easily by just watching a first pitch.
No doubt. I think a lot of people were going, wait, he plays for the Saints. Why is he in Chicago? Why is he throwing out a first pitch for the Cubs? And it's interesting. He's an interesting cat, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a while now. I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago, he started getting really into NASCAR. And he partnered with NASCAR. It's something like he's like the engagement advisor for NASCAR. He's got like this little role to try to bring new fans into the fold for NASCAR. And NASCAR was in Chicago this weekend.
Nice.
So I think that was the connection there. So some synergy between the Cubs, NASCAR, and Alvin. And he's a really interesting guy. But that clip is fantastic. You just completely throws it in the dirt. He's like, no, I want it back. He doesn't move. He's thrown from the actual mound, which I really respect. And he got it done, got the job done.
Yep. If I'm ever in that position, I'm going safe, 2-seamer, not at 100%. There's a lot of pressure to go out there and show your arm off if you think you could do it. Nope. The goal is to just have it catchable. If you can get it over the plate, huge bonus, but I'm just throwing a standard 2-seamer, no big deal.
Arthritic throwing shoulder.
You're shot putting it up there?
And I will take the pain to put it over the plate.
I will say, when my son started playing baseball and I started throwing baseball for the first time in however many years, it did not feel good at all. But, 1,000 BP sessions later, it feels like through several years of baseball, the arm is in decent condition.
Can I tell you something that's really sad?
Yeah.
I am, and I will take any advice that anyone's got. So I am never hurt my shoulder in my life.
Mhm.
Not a single shoulder injury. I am bone on bone in my right shoulder. I am right-handed. Hurts to shoot a basketball, hurts to throw a baseball. It's like the only thing that hurts is those two motions. It makes me very sad. So dude, I bought a glove for the right hand. I'm learning to throw lefty. Like
Really?
that's where it's at. Yeah.
Dang.
And I'm getting better at it. Like I assume I'll just get better at it as time goes on. I've always had a pretty decent left hand. So, but yeah, that's where it's at, man. It made me really sad to pull the trigger and order that glove on Amazon too. I was like, dang, man. I'm I'm too young to be able to do
Shoulder
this.
replacement or learn to throw left-handed?
It's like one of the only motions that really makes me uncomfortable. And I like to think I got a pretty high pain tolerance, but it's like the best way to describe it is like a cement grinder every time I throw with my right hand.
Not good.
I can hear it. I can hear my shoulder when I throw it right-handed.
Oh,
So I made this decision. I was like, you know what? We're gonna have to start working on some lefty arm strength, and it's going pretty well.
I got to where I could throw a football pretty good left-handed because the right shoulder always being destroyed while I was playing, but it's totally different with the baseball. I've tried it
It's
with the baseball and it does not translate.
I think it's gonna be kind of everything. It
Yeah.
just hey, I'm gonna become left-handed just late in life. It'll be fine. I'm not worried
There you
about it.
go. There you go. The
I
body can
trust my
adapt, man.
athleticism.
The body can adapt. You'll be fine.
Pretty depressing to think
Yeah.
about though.
I hate that.
It's yeah. You got like shooting threes in basketball. You can just hear it just
Oh, I
and
hate
sometimes it'll like if I'm shooting a three from like distance, it'll pop out. I know you know the pop out
Oh yeah.
life. You're familiar with that. So I'm not
You
trying
can
to make everyone
management, but
sad.
then every now and then it usually doesn't hurt. It's just loose and grindy, but then every now and then it hits the wrong spot and bites on you.
Super fun. Play football, kids. It's great. Who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
I had to go with Hugh Freeze. Every fan base, they go through cycles. And right now, Auburn's fan base is in panic cycle. And somehow they've gotten a hold of all of the golf that Hugh Freeze has been playing. I guess he was registering his rounds with the USGA, try to get that handicap number, and recruiting's not going great. 85th ranked class, 7 commits, and those two worlds collided, and the fans are saying, why the hell are you playing so much golf and why are you not on the recruiting trail? And it's turned into a deal. They had to issue a statement in regards to what's going on. So it's just again, see Gabe's first answer at the beginning of the show. We need to play football games.
Football games need to be played. The one question I have for Hugh Freeze, and I get it, you want to log your scores in there. You want to get your true handicap. It does it all for you. It's very convenient. You do it, I do it. If you're Hugh Freeze, you just can't do it, man.
Mm-mm.
You just got to live with whatever your handicap is currently. You can't log those scores because people can search it. He knows that, right? Or did he not know that? Do we think he didn't know?
Well, he probably thought, you know, who would ever think to look around for that? He's got to go with an alias like Hugh McGavin or something, right? I mean, you gotta throw a different name out there.
I I saw this story and I just couldn't believe it. Now, if he'd been killing it at Auburn, if he'd been racking up double digit seasons, I don't think anyone would say anything. He'd get the benefit of the doubt, right?
Yeah.
That has not been the case.
No.
So
How many fan bases are searching the USGA for their head coach right now?
all of them, every SEC one, you would assume. You're just like, wait a second. If Hugh Freeze is doing that, is our guy doing that?
There's probably a handicap tracker with a correlation to wins already set up to see if the more golf a coach plays, the less games they win. I don't know, but I I say you need your coach to check out in the offseason some. I doubt he's burning up the course during the season, right? But even then, like you need to disengage the brain from whatever it is you're doing. Like these coaches live in it pretty much nonstop. I don't have a problem if a guy checks out for a couple of hours and goes and does something else. You got to let the mind breathe a little bit. Step outside of what you're doing, gain some perspective. It's not the end of the world.
They also, I think, didn't they have like back-to-back top 10 classes?
Yeah, I know they did hit a couple of big players in there. I don't know where their classes ended up, and I know they've been big players in the transfer. They had a big transfer portal haul, so I don't
I
know.
just don't lock the scores, Hugh.
I doubt he will.
I Have we seen Hugh Freeze log his last score on the USGA app?
I would say that there's a strong likelihood of that for sure.
USGA Gin. I've got it right here on the phone.
Okay.
But oh my gosh. I
Is he any good? I wonder
His
what his
phone just
handicap is.
blew up.
Oh
His
my
phone just exploded and he went, "What's going on?" I hope he was actually on the golf course when his phone blew up.
Yeah, like his right hand. Coach, we've got a issue I need to talk to you about. There's a there's a growing number of people with pitchforks outside of the stadium right now, wondering about your golf game.
Out of all the things you think you're going to have to worry about as a head coach in today's day and age of college football, I have to assume that was not on Hugh Freeze's radar.
No, there's going to be paparazzi out at the local golf course trying to snap pictures of Hugh on the tee box.
There were a bunch of pictures of it going around too. Like, wow, he does golf a lot. It's funny. Let him live, people. Let him live
Yeah,
his life.
let him live.
But get better recruits, Hugh.
I
Hey,
mean,
everything, everything gets solved if you just win games, man.
got to win football games. That's it.
All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first, three things matter in banking: service, service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise, it's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED. Buttery soft and 10% off.
And guys, it's time to make the switch to the Ridge wallet. Go to ridge.com, use promo code OKBreakdown at checkout for 10% off your order. The days of the super fat wallet that hurts to sit on are over. Make the switch to the sleek, modern design that can hold up to 12 cards and cash. It's also got this cool little elastic band on the side that helps you hang on to the cash and other things that you need. Ridge has over 50 colors and styles to choose from. They have free shipping, a 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty on all of their products. It's literally the last wallet you'll ever have to buy. And Ridge wallets have the RFID blocking technology on them also. It keeps you safe from all the digital pickpocketers out there. And you get 10% off at ridge.com when you use code OKBreakdown at checkout. That's ridge.com, code OKBreakdown for 10% off. And after you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you.
For my winner of the weekend, Ted, no one steals headlines like LeBron James, man.
That's true.
He is just an absolute master at stealing headlines. You got all kinds of stuff going on in the NBA right now with free agency, but somehow, some way, LeBron James opts into his contract with the Lakers, and this vague statement from his agent Rich Paul that he gave to Shams Charania becomes the biggest story in the NBA. Quote, we understand the difficulty in winning now while preparing for the future. We do want to evaluate what's best for LeBron at this stage in his life and career. What does it mean?
I don't know.
Is he unhappy? Is he jealous that they're going to build around Luka Doncic and not him? All the headlines about LeBron James in the NBA right now. What's going to happen? Are they going to trade him? He's got a no trade clause, though. What would have happened if he opted out instead of opting in? It's just, this guy is a master at being in the conversation. There has never been anyone in the NBA better at being the focal point of the conversations of the league than LeBron James. It's unbelievable. He's got a gift.
He's got a gift. And it may have been as simple as get this statement out there so people stop talking about your golf swing. Did you see the video of his,
I think those happened. I think the statement happened before the golf swing. But yes, he posted. LeBron is getting into golf.
Yeah.
Did you see Steph Curry like, welcome?
Yeah.
Welcome. But yeah, maybe he should have been my loser of the week because he has started what is undoubtedly the most frustrating game on planet Earth. So yeah, he's going to become obsessed. It is going to be the most frustrating thing ever. Imagine being, I've said it many times on here, and I believe it. I think LeBron James is the best athlete ever. Size, speed, explosiveness, durability. The guy is just a mutant.
I mean, he's been a top 5 player in the NBA for close to 20 years. I mean, and a lot of that 20-year run, he was the best player. So it's not just the size and all the physicality, it's the duration. You know, it's hard to do it at that level for that long, man. There's no, it's hard to argue with, especially when you go back and watch clips from like 15 years ago and see what LeBron looked like on a basketball court compared to everyone else. It was insane.
He is arguably the best athlete ever. And he looks absolutely ridiculous swinging a golf club. That's golf, man. It humbles everyone. It's the hardest thing ever. And I am excited for him though. Like that, when you start getting into it for the first time, it is an exhilarating feeling. Like every guy I know that started getting into it, you just become obsessed with it initially.
Oh yeah. You go to the range for an hour and you hit like 3 just squared up shots. It's like, okay, it's not going to be long before I hit every shot like that. And the grind continues. There's moments and then there's setbacks, right?
I wish him luck on his golf journey. But he also, like, for the first time in his career, he's not the priority for a franchise. That has to be a weird feeling for him.
I know.
Like, it feels like, he's almost done. No, he got the Lakers a title, but they trade for Luka, and their priority is now, hey, get Luka Doncic to sign an extension with them and build around him moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's got to be when you've been the man for as long as LeBron James has been the man, it's got to be kind of a weird feeling going, oh, wait, like I'm not the top priority here. That has to just be a strange feeling for that guy.
How much of it do you think is tied to new ownership?
Yeah. No, I guess Jeannie Buss that's still so weird to me that sold the team, but running the team still, that just, then you've got Pelinka and all this. I don't know, but hey, they got their center. They signed DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That'll do it.
They traded for Jake LaRavia, or I didn't trade for him. They signed him. I guess they messed up the Dorian Finney-Smith thing. That sounded a little sketchy what was going on there, but I don't know. It just great point bringing up the golf, but like just LeBron James's ability to dominate headlines, it feels like it's unmatched.
Yeah, it is. I mean, pretty much anytime you turn on ESPN, it's some type of conversation about LeBron James, like whatever it may be. I mean, they'll at times dedicate all of their shows for an entire day to talking about some like random little LeBron James situation that like a lot of people look at and say, "What are we doing, guys?" But he commands a lot of attention. There's no doubt.
I can only imagine the amount of shows on Monday that are going to break down the golf clips,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
which that's kind of the content I'm after. Like I want a thorough breakdown on Golf Channel or something. I is it it's Max Homa. Like you can send him your swing and
Oh
he'll
yeah.
comment on it. We
Oh
need a
yeah.
Max Homa breakdown on Twitter of LeBron's swing.
It, I wouldn't be shocked if it's already out there.
I did not look, so it very, very well could be. My loser of the week, Notre Dame. Now, it does seem like Notre Dame's kind of on a heater on the recruiting trail,
Mm-hmm.
but Ted, every coach gives the same speech every year before the 4th of July. It's the same speech every year. It's something to the effect of, hey guys, have fun, but be smart and don't get hurt.
Make good decisions.
Make good decisions. And I'm sure Marcus Freeman said something similar to his players, which I assume he's not thrilled that Charles Jagusah, one of his starting offensive linemen, fell off a UTV and broke his arm over the weekend.
Well, um, you're living in a new world in college football. If you look at an NFL contract and you break your arm falling off a UTV over the offseason and you can't play, guess what? You don't get paid.
Correct.
So I
Now,
wonder how all that's going to marry up.
it's it's just a broken arm from what I understand. So he's got time. Like he should be ready for the season, I would assume. But this is a guy, remember last year he was their projected left tackle and tore his pec in training camp. Now he came back during the college football playoff and he played guard, he played tackle. I think he started left tackle in the national championship game. But very high expectations for Notre Dame going into this season. And so I saw this and I was like, oh, I wonder what their offensive line situation is. Because remember, they had like 2 or 3 guys leaving the transfer portal. And I thought that
Yeah.
was strange. So I went and looked at it. They lost 3 guys that started like significant games for them last season in the portal. Pat Coogan went to Indiana. Rocco Spindler, which, what a name, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
is he left. And then Sam Pendleton left. He's going to Tennessee. It's even if you've got like studs coming in, it's weird to lose 3 offensive linemen that started games for you that have eligibility left
Championship.
when you went to the national championship game. Like that's kind of strange.
Mm-hmm.
And then your Jagusah breaks his arm now, and you'll assume he'll be back. It's a broken arm, but Anthony Knapp, who is projected to be their left tackle, he had ankle surgery after the season, missed what sounds like all of spring ball. Ashton Craig, who's projected to be their starting center, he tore his ACL early last season. Now he should be back, but coming back from a significant knee injury. I guess they've got a freshman, Gerby Lambert, who was battling for time in the spring, but he had to have shoulder surgery, tore his labrum. And it was starting to give me like OU vibes. You know what I mean? Like, wait, Notre Dame has been fantastic at producing offensive linemen over a very extended period of time now. But start looking at some of the stuff. Like you lost 3 guys that were starters for you at some point during the season. ACL, labrum, falling off UTVs, breaking arms. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting offensive line situation at Notre Dame. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And we know from experience that you can expect guys to be back and be ready. And then game one, game two, things drag on. And when you miss that much time, it could set you back, especially for guys that don't have a lot of experience. Like when you miss a big portion of practice time and preparation time, it's not so easy as you get the cast off, you're 100%, and you just step in at the top of your game. I mean, it can happen, but there's usually a gearing up part, and there's a long acclimation period to be able to play at your best through training camp and all that stuff. So we'll see, man. Not a good start.
August 31st, Notre Dame travels to Hard Rock Stadium to take on Miami. So, and then their second game, they got a bye week after that. Their second game's A&M.
Yeah.
At Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend. Yeah, in South Bend. So, not exactly an easy start to the schedule for the Fighting Irish either.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah, they're going to have to be. They need to be in sharp form whenever they come out of the gates. So that'll be something to monitor for sure.
I think Jeremiah Love is one of the best backs in college football. He's got to be looking at this O-line situation going, hey, what
are we doing, guys? What's
going on here?
Tough.
Be an interesting quarterback situation there too. But hey, don't fall off UTVs and break your arm.
No, that's tough. I hate that. That's a tough deal. You don't want that for anyone. At least for me, I like to see everyone at their best and let the rest tell the story. But these things happen, unfortunately.
Birthday shout outs. Happy 13th birthday to Lucas Flores.
Happy 35th birthday to Joey Jagusah.
That would be Joey Jagusah. We definitely played high school football together. Happy birthday, Joey.
Happy birthday, Joey. Jagusah?
Jagusah.
Jagusah. Juice. I like it.
Happy 40th birthday to Laura Foshi.
Happy birthday, Laura.
On that note, episode 543 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Wednesday. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our website, okbreakdown.com. Hope you all have a great start to your week. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.
Boom.